Hey friends, welcome to this new now. I'm Jane, the guide, guiding this ascension thing for the humans. Um, so I hope that you're doing well wherever you are right now. Um, it is such an interesting timeline right now, and I have some downloads that I would just like to share because I can't hold them all in. So hopefully this lands with an open heart and an open mind, and whatever doesn't land, take it with a grain of salt, right? So more beings are becoming aware that time is just a construct. And as more people remember that time is eternal and that everything is happening now, the more we will experience the eternal nature of now, one. And two, we will also experience the awareness of the construct of time. The construct of time has been created to control and enslave the energy output of humans. So the construct of time has been placed on the grid. This way I see it, it's been placed as a grid on the firmament, in the firmament, whatever, to keep humans fearing time, not having enough, running out, needing to do something in a timely fashion in the name of basically the greedy pocketbooks of the corporation. And that belief has created realities where humans are enslaved, where people don't feel that they can leave their jobs, change their life, live a joyful life because they have a belief that they can't afford it because they don't have the time to do it, right? They don't have enough time to make enough money to experience these higher frequency emotions and feelings and energy fields that we're actually divinely designed to live in and as. So, as more people become aware that time is just this construct, um, it's going to go both two different ways. It's going to feel a little bit tighter and almost like before the almost before you split your pants, how it's going to have that moment of like, oh, that's tight. So, like that in all different ways. I'm just using time as what's been coming through right now. So that feeling of tightness is going to perhaps feel like, oh shit, I don't have enough time. I needed to make amends. I wanted to rectify that relationship. I wanted to have my house clean by now. I wanted to take that trip. I wanted to see that person one more time. I wanted to say I was sorry. I wanted to tell that person that I do love them even though they hurt me. Like whatever these things are, that feeling of like, oh shit, um, I wanted to do all these things and now I'm running out. It's like the feeling of death. It's like if someone tells you that you're going to die and you're going to die soon. And you really are like, oh, I really wanted to do all these things. And so that moment, those moments where you feel like that pressure of, oh my God, I need to do all these things, and also this like deep grieving process of, oh God, there were so many things that I wanted to do. And it's like grief for the self. It's like grieving these parts of me that I didn't get to live into or live as or share from my heart or speak up for myself or speak for someone else, even though I don't like speaking for other people, but sometimes it's a thing. Anyway, so when we, the only way that we can really, not really, one of the more potent ways for us to see the impermanence of the timeline that we have been told is real is through death. And we all know that if you've ever experienced someone around you dying, how all of a sudden time just changes. You don't give a shit about anything. You don't care about going to work. You don't care about feeding your husband or your wife. Because you're like, they can do it themselves. Life itself is so much more important. Let me just look at them, right? Let me just go outside one more time. Like, there's this depth of death that we experience that really anchors us into the present moment of life. What I'm seeing is that we're going to get a really big collective opportunity to do this. I keep seeing, and I saw this a few years ago, and the timeline of it is starting to be made manifest, which means on the collective to be experienced. This looks like death. Um, a lot of it. It looks like a lot of death. And in that, the gift of that will be the ability to hold more compassion in our hearts, to be able to filter grief through our bodies. And that leads us into a broader experience of joy. It's just the way energy works. It transmutes itself when we allow it or when we choose it. So as the deaths of humans start to increase exponentially, what that's going to do, it's going to shift reality. One way it's going to further indoctrinate the program of time and fearing that you're not going to have enough of it, and so you need to work doubly hard. Because what's going to happen is a lot of the generational wealth with all of the deaths that are getting ready to come online, the generational wealth is about to leave our reality for many humans. And we can see that with the way the stocks and all of that, how people are losing money. Well, the people that are losing money, a lot of them are going to die anyway, and they wouldn't be able to, so they're not going to be passing that down. So what money they do have left would be left to settle their estate, if that. And if not, then the land and the estates will go back to the banks. BlackRock, right? The land grabbers. That's their MO, right? They want all the land. They want to own the earth. Anyway, it's all a fucking hologram anyway, doesn't matter. But just to share with you what I'm seeing, this is just one little snippet. So I'm trying to not go too far out. So a lot of deaths. And when that happens, because it changes the experience of time, what I see happening is like a compression of a file. How it's like all of this data everywhere, and then it goes into this one little tiny disk, little file. It's compressing everything into one little now moment, stacked and sorted internally in a way. When the files get compressed, we process experiences, data, thoughts, information, and emotions faster. Only if we are practiced in doing so. Meaning, if we have all of these files and they are being compressed, and I'm seeing them as like little, like holographic datas, okay? And we just holographically compress them. Now, if someone goes in there and throws like a number 2 wooden pencil in there, it literally doesn't equate to what the files are that are being compressed, right? It doesn't belong. You can't do that. You can't put the pencil in the computer, right? Like, it's like, where did that even come from? So we can't compress the files to upgrade this device, this vessel that we're in, if we have things that don't belong. A lot of people choose to keep these things that don't belong. These things that don't belong, when broken down into human, looks like fear. Fear of anything. Fear of from anything from like not enoughness, not having enough, not being enough, fear of judgment, fear of losing stuff and things, fear of losing relationships, fear of dying. That's a big one. That doesn't belong. It makes the compression of the files a lot more difficult. As we ascend, these data packets are being compressed. So we are moving up in this like system of ascension at a more rapid rate. And the more we are able to not have these blockers, these things that don't belong in our system, the easier everything is. Everything. Like, for real though. So, some big blockers that I see coming up. Big ones are going to be judgment. They're already in the program. Like they're already blocking people. They might be blocking you. They blocked the fuck out of me for most of my life. Judgment is going to be a really big one as people see why their brothers and sisters and family members and themselves are dying. Because it was through a type of a peer pressure and threats of losing your job, right? So that means losing your livelihood, your money, your ability to provide food and shelter. People make decisions when they think they're not going to have food and shelter. Um, Coercive tactics, um, shaming. When people realize that these reasons around the genetic therapy that was chosen is causing the massive death on the earth plane by the name of myocarditis, by the name of sudden adult death syndrome, by the name of, whoa, those are some random cancers. Where the hell those come from? Random blood issues, random arterial blockages, just like really out of the blue, just like how did they die? Just like they were healthy and then all of a sudden they were not. When it comes into the awareness that all of these what the hell happened is happening because of genetic therapy choices, that will be a really big blocker in the compression of the file to ascend. So the invitation, as we are compressing our files because we are embodying more of our higher self. That's what ascension is. Call it ascension or descension, whatever. We're holding more light frequency in our bodies. We're in a different harmonic resonance. We're in a different light field. We're literally changing. That means that when we move through hard times, we move through them with more grace, with more love, with more compassion, with radical acceptance, and we continue to move on through it. It doesn't get us stuck and stopped. So as we continue to compress the files, it's taking all of the fractaled parts of us and bringing us into the wholeness that we've always been. But we're coming back into the wholeness in form, in the body. That's what they talked about when Jesus was going to come back. The Savior is you. It's you embodying your higher self, your embodied love. We then take all of our quantum aspects that we call past lives and future lives, all of the wisdom and experiences and knowledge, as well as this like higher mind, higher perspective, seeing futuristic ideas and kind of like out of the box thinking. It's when these two quantum aspects come together and live through our heart. So these files that are compressing is our energy of us, of the Christ consciousness, that of Yahweh, Yeshua, all of that, whatever the name is that you call it. Doesn't matter what the name is. Maybe it does to you. Doesn't matter. The is what it is. And this is the way I'm seeing it. And doesn't mean that the way I'm seeing it is the only way. It could be looked at a bajillion different ways, and it's all the same. We're eternal beings living in the eternal now. We have been fractaled off. Our energy has been fractaled off because our mind has been so focused on the material world that our heart has been ignored. The heart is the magnetizer of the I am that I am. So not only do we magnetize to us those things that we want and we need in the manifestation of the life we want, but it literally is the beacon that calls us back home. But if the mind is focused on the stuff and things, the material world, the heart's just sitting there like doo 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 doo, twiddling the little heart thumbs, just waiting. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This can go on forever. And there are some beings in human form that choose for this to go on forever. And that's fine. That's fine. There's no judgment. Please don't. If you are someone that wants to continue that form of program in life, do it. And if you're not, please don't hold judgment over them and don't try to get them to change. Then you become a part of that fictional reality, the material reality, because you're wanting something outside of you to change. And you're not living in radical acceptance. And then you just put a pencil in your file that can't compress now. My nose is itching. So, the big invitation from this now forward is to be mindful of the heart, to be deeply and keenly aware of the focus of the mind on the material world. The material world is beautiful and divine and unique and all of these things, and it's so sensational and so sensual, and it's beautiful and it's ugly and it's messy, and it's death and decay and destruction and it's birth and it's life itself. But the energy of life itself is what is the heart. So if we can begin to individually and then collectively, or at least on a large scale, focus this attention and awareness to the heart, to love, to acceptance, right? Like it's not just like looking at the heart and being like, well, Jane said this. It's a deep focus. When we do that, then the material world around us changes to become a reflection of that of the heart. So we don't have to try to control and manipulate the material world. Rather, we create the material world in the now moments that we are living from the heart. The mind is the servant of the heart. It is there to serve. That's it. We have been inverted in our reality to only focus on the material world and to put all of our energy of the third eye there. So much so that we will create our heart, we'll force our heart to believe that it loves it. I'm so curious why my nose is so itchy. Interesting. I always see the nose as the heart. Mm, fascinating. Anyway, we have been taught to focus on basically serving big corporations which is really just a disguise for the Vatican and the big banking systems. It really is. The church has ruled everything. And then they were like, let's make it a corporation. Let's separate this church and this state. Let's separate the heart from the mind. And now we will only serve the corporations, the manifestation of the mind. We will only serve that now. And we're going to create so much fear for you humans that if you don't serve the mind, the corporations, or the church that has the God that's judgmental and mean and all the things, right? The judgy God. If you don't serve that, then you'll be punished. You'll do without. You'll be in lack. You'll be in suffering. You'll be a loser. You won't be good enough. All those beliefs, those have just been part of the matrix in the program so that our mind continues to serve that corporate mind. Now, we are here to integrate the heart and the mind and become the vessel of the whole, the holy. We are already that, but if we don't know it, we can't be it consciously. Consciously means that the decisions I make are a choice. So that is what we're moving through. We're moving through a timeline where files are being compressed, which means that you may have an experience that seems really big. Maybe you get a really big download and a really big vision of some things that may be happening, or maybe some things that have happened in our human history, and how so much has been kept from us and hidden from us, from Tartaria and Egypt, both aspects of Egypt, the one from the North America and then the one from the Egypt as we've been taught. The mud floods, the possibility of a flat earth plane, all of these things that, giants, like all this stuff. When all of this comes into focus, like, whoa, these have happened and I've been lied to, that's where the divine choice is going to start to come online. Because people will continue to look at what they've been lied to about, and then look at who lied to them and just sit in anger and resentment and judgment, and it keeps them bound with that timeline. So no matter where you are in your journey, what we really get to do, from what I've been shown, is to be able to see what's been hidden from us, the lies that have been told, and to be like, whoa, I believed that and I didn't believe that, and wow, I was so blinded. I believe things, and I don't really know exactly what I believe right now, but I believe that didn't feel good to feel like I was lied to. And then I ended up lying to people, whatever the case is. But my point is to be able to see these things in a space of neutrality and acceptance. So that means the nervous system has no charge. That means there's a lot of nervous system work that gets to be worked through. If your nervous system still gets activated at shit, then your files are still going to compress, but they're just not going to compress maybe as fast as some others, because the others have a new system, a new vessel. They got the new phone and you're just running on the old phone. We're still getting the update, but if I have the new phone, it just works better, right? The images are clearer. I can watch YouTube faster. I don't know, whatever, right? So that's what we're doing as we ascend through this hologram. The vessel is the phone, it's the device, okay? So if your nervous system gets activated and you can't see these things, an invitation is to work with that, to for you to be able to soothe your nervous system and come into a lot of clarity about why it activated or how you can actually like really mitigate it and not just bypass it. Because if you bypass it, that's not going to be good. I promise. That's going to suck. That's a whole other conversation. So to be able to look at what is outside of ourselves, no matter where we're seeing this information come from, and to be able to see it in neutrality. So again, neutrality, nervous system is chill. And to see it in a space truly of radical acceptance, meaning I may not prefer it. And if it could be different, oh, fuck yeah, I would love for that to be different. But if it's not different in this now, then I'm not going to harm myself or anyone else through the quantum of my freak the fuck out and judging it. Because everything we do emits a frequency from us. So every time we're in fear or disgust or whatever, judgment, we just radiate that out. I'm ready to have more beings around me radiate out acceptance and peace and fucking joy. Sounds more fun. Can't be the only one. Y'all want this too, right? You don't have to. Anyway, so we're compressing the files. So to be able to see all the data and who hid it and knowing why they hid it and what agenda they had when they hid it in the first place, to be able to see all of it just for what is, the more the more practiced one is at that, the faster the files compress. So what that looks like from my experience is that I will see the things, whether I see it on a media or I see it in a download, because I usually just get prophetic visions and I ask for clarity in a lot of interesting realities that people are experiencing. So I can see it and I can move it through my body. I will compress it through the quantum of me. So what that looks like is I'll get these visions in whatever way that looks, and they're fucked up. They're really fucked up. The stuff that's going to come out is fucked up. And I will see it, process it in my mind, my heart, my physical, my nervous system. And then I do work in the quantum to pull in new codes for the collective. And then I move it through my body. So whether it's through dance or some other somatic technique. But I can do that now instead of it being like a week-long thing or a day-long thing. It's like an hour-long thing. So the file's like compressed, done, right? It's like if you have, again, the new phone and you have the update, it updates in 2 seconds. But if you have an old phone, you put the update on it, it may take, a day and a half to update it. It's trying to create storage and kind of make it shove it itself in. So anyway, we're going to move in this timeline where we get to compress our files faster and faster. That means we'll have more opportunities to compress, which means we'll have more opportunities to bring into the conscious awareness of realities that have been in existence. It's an exciting time to be alive. We're moving into the solstice when more light comes in. These compression of the files, I'm going to share this and then I'm going to hop off. But the compression of these files they happen when the phone is still, right? When you update the phone, they're just like plug it in and leave it alone, right? And it's like, it looks like the power goes off and then the power comes back on when it's complete. That is the equivalent of around the 25th of December when the sun stands still and it doesn't move for like 2.5 days. It's because we're getting ready to get a massive download of energy to compress the files. So it might be a good time to rest, to be with your breath, to dance, to create, to take it fucking easy. If you are a person that stresses out over the holiday time because you have to travel and you have to do this and you have to go here and you have to go there and you would just rather do whatever, do the whatever instead. Because if this is the last year of your life and you spent the last holiday time being all stressed out, you'd be like, damn it, could have just rested, right? I could have enjoyed those last days. And I'm not saying that you're going to die or that we're going to die in a year, because time itself isn't real. And the existence as a human is different. And I'm curious to see the split of the organic humans and the inorganic humans. And that's another topic for another day. So, yeah, the invitation is to live like you're dying fully, freely, joyfully, accept it, and live. And fucking live. Let the mind let go of the material experience and let the heart be the creator of it. Let that be what anchors in. If anything that I said, release the heart and release the mind and let the heart be the guide. Release the mind from the material, let the heart create the material. As above, so below, we're moving to the reflection. So it's going to be similar, but different, right? It's like when you look at a reflection, it's not necessarily upside down. It's not really backward. It's just a reflection. It's a different type of an image. So it's a different axis. It's the Z axis. Look that shit up. I love the quantum, y'all. I love the energy field. It's all of life. So as you're navigating these nows and as you're compressing these files and as you're ascending and you're moving through this, and you might find that you have blockers, that you really are having a hard time for real radically accepting something. Maybe it's about your physical form, your family, life itself. Maybe you find yourself still judging shit. Maybe you find it hard to love something. Maybe you don't love yourself fully. Maybe you think you love yourself because you show up, or you get facials, or you take your hair, or you work out or whatever. But if you don't actually love yourself so much, and your curves and your heart parts and your soffits and your everything, if you're still living in fear of being a failure, fear of being judged, fear of being alone, fear of being abandoned, or if you are living the most stagnant, boring life for you and you just want to break free and do something creative, maybe you want to be of service to a community, to a group of beings, you want to literally be more creative, you want to do something that's maybe never been done. This is what I help support life with, is the actual embodiment of your higher self. I can do the healing work, I can lay hands, and I can do that bippity boppity boo shit all day. But until we embody our healed aspect, then we're not showing up fully. So if you want support in this embodiment, the humaning of your higher self and not the humaning of the program that you were just created to be by an agendaed program, but you'd rather live as the program of love that you are designed to, please send me an email. Go to janetheguide.com and we can have a session. I can't tell you what the session's going to look like because it is legit different for everyone. It's magic. And I just want to see you and the whole world live from an open heart and a clear mind and the freedom to actually live uniquely. That's just what I want. So take care. Just take care of yourselves and each other. Keep breathing. Listen to your heart. Let the mind off the hook a little bit. And maybe start practicing non-attachment to the material world. Love it for what it is, but maybe just don't attach to that shit. It's an invitation. So thank you for taking the time and checking this out. And no matter what, just remember how loved you are, okay? Because you are love. Okay. I love you. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you soon. Peace.